Time for munching and mating. In the Macrocystis, or giant kelp, with your host, Dr. Bill Bushing. One of the best things about my job is that when I go to the office, I don't have to wear a tie with my suit. Wetsuit, that is. Today we're going to look at the spiny-skinned invertebrates known as Echinoderms, which include the sea urchins, sea cucumbers, sea stars, and Brittlestars. This episode will focus on the starfish and Brittlestars, or Ophiopsilas, found in the waters off Southern California. The variable sea star, Linckia columbiae, is a very common species often overlooked by divers. It is also known as the Pacific comet, or the fragile star. These small sea stars only reach about 4 inches in diameter, and they are somewhat inconspicuous due to the dark coloration. Their body color is variable, but generally consists of patterns of maroon, red, red-brown, and gray. The upper or dorsal surface of the disc and arms appears granular. This semi-tropical species is found from Southern California to Colombia and the Galapagos Islands. It prefers rocky habitats from the low intertidal to about 240 feet. The variable star's diet is not well understood. It may use mucus secretions to trap bacteria and organic detritus. Its smarter relatives munch on mussels and clams, which sound much tastier to my palate. Although some feel the common name variable refers to their color, I think it relates to the many different combinations of arms that may be observed. The arms may number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 or 9, which I have yet to film examples of. The variable star has been called the champion of arm regeneration. They often autotomize or throw off an arm or two near their base when they are threatened. They also use this as a means of asexual reproduction. Each cast-off arm grows into a new individual, quite unusual in starfish, which normally require a portion of the central disc be present as well. Within a few months, a single arm can develop into a functioning individual with the other arms in budding stage. The frequent autotomization results in arms that are usually uneven in length, rather than the near-perfect 5-part radial symmetry of most echinoderms. Back in the 1960s and 70s, I studied the role of drifting kelp patties or rafts in dispersing various marine invertebrates around Southern California. I spoke with Dr. Florence McAlery, who studied these starfish. She was surprised they were so common on Catalina, since they lack a pelagic larval stage that could disperse them across the channel with the currents. I mentioned collecting several of them on drifting kelp rafts miles out at sea. Just a few variable stars arriving on the Channel Islands this way could easily reproduce larger populations through the processes of autotomy and regeneration. Later, another piece of their ecology emerged when I was working with the Cousteaus on a television documentary about the Channel Islands. In one segment, Jean-Michel placed a variable starfish on a Garibaldi nest filled with fresh yellow eggs. The Garibaldi quickly removed the starfish from the nest and dropped it far away. Apparently the Garibaldi knew, or at least believed, that the starfish might prey on its eggs. I wondered if this behavior actually occurred naturally. Then several times over the following years, I observed Garibaldi carrying these starfish off in their mouths and dropping them on the bottom. Since there were no divers in the vicinity, I came to believe this behavior does indeed occur without our interference. The blood star is known scientifically as Henricia leviuscula. They reach 8 inches in diameter, but are usually about half that. Normally there are 5 arms, but individuals may be seen with 4 to 6 of them. The arms are long and tapering, and appear almost round in cross-section. The central disc is small relative to the arm length. The color normally ranges from orange to red, often quite brilliant, and they may have darker bands on the arms. Occasionally individuals are observed with tan or purple coloration. When found at depth, where red light is absent, they may appear gray. The surface is covered with a network of narrow ridges made up of small, calcified ossicles or spinelets. There are often noticeable depressions between these ridges. There are no pedicelaria to prevent larvae from settling, but the dorsal surface is generally free from encrustation. The blood star is found from the Aleutian Islands to Bahia Tortugas, Baja California, with a population also recorded in Japanese waters. On our coast they range from the low intertidal to over 1,300 feet deep. These asteroids generally frequent rocky bottoms, but may also be seen on soft-bottom habitats. These starfish feed on bacteria and other bits of organic matter and sediment captured by mucus and transferred to the mouth by cilia. They may also feed by direct contact of their inverted stomach with sponges and bryozoa on the rocks, and are reported eating bivalves like clams, small fish, and even other starfish. This one appears to be biting off much more than it can chew. Mostly they scavenge, keeping detritus from building up on the bottom. Based on my observations, attacks on them by predators appear to be rare. However, they can regenerate arms and arm tips. Up north in Puget Sound, they breed from December to March. Development is direct, with no intermediate larval stages between the eggs and the adults. Smaller females brood the eggs in a depression on the under or oral surface, formed when the blood star arches its central disc. Larger females apparently discharge their eggs directly into the surrounding water. The rainbow star, Orthasterias koehleri, is commonly known as the red-banded, long-rayed, red and white-banded, or painted sea star. This colorful starfish may be rose-pink, mottled with gray, to red, mottled with yellow, occasionally with tan or cream-colored markings. It has prominent sharp spines on the arms and dorsal surface. Although most are 15 to 16 inches, they may reach 24 inches in diameter. The rainbow star is known from Yakutat Bay, Alaska, to southern California, with one source specifying Santa Rosa Island as its southernmost point. I have only seen it once here off Catalina Island, on the deeper pinnacle known as Little Farnsworth near Avalon. This may be an extension of its known range. This starfish frequents both rocky and soft-bottom habitats from the very low intertidal to about 800 feet. Mollusks form the major part of their diet and include small snails, limpets, chitin, clams, and scallops. Barnacles, crabs, brachiopods, and tunicates may be added for a little variety, or when their preferred prey are not abundant. It is said they can use their arms to dig clams out of cobble-bottom habitats. Many non-scientists assume that every marine critter has been studied and given a name. The species you see here is one that is yet to receive a scientific name. For the time being, it is known by its common name, the red-spotted sea star. I first observed it while diving Farnsworth Bank about 1.5 miles off the windward side of Santa Catalina Island. This deep pinnacle is also a location for the purple hydrocoral, which is rare in our waters. Divers have also spotted this starfish at Shiprock, Eagle Reef, and a few other locations. I have no information about its distribution elsewhere, including the Southern California mainland. Although it doesn't need a name for us to learn about its natural history and ecology, little information is available in the current literature or on the Internet. This new species is currently being investigated and should receive its official scientific name fairly soon. Stay tuned. The spiny sand star, Astropecten armatus, has also been called the armored and the shallow water sand star. It is gray to tan in color and may have touches of rose. They may reach 6 to 9 inches in diameter. Plates and spines border each arm. The disk's upper surface is covered with elevated granular structures known as paxilli, each with a cluster of spines on top. It is found from San Pedro to Ecuador at depths from the lower intertidal to about 180 feet. They prefer soft-bottom habitats, primarily sand. There is another sand star found to depths of 1,600 feet from Point Reyes, California to Baja California. Some assign it to a separate species, Astropecten virilli, but they may be variants of the same species. The 2 feet are pointed and lack the suction cups found on starfish that live on rocky bottoms. This allows them to move more easily on the sandy substrate. They move equally well burrowing under the sand and are rarely seen fully exposed. Sandstars feed on snails like the purple olive, which is common on sandy bottoms. The starfish is said to be able to detect the snail from a distance, approach it quickly, and use its arms to trap it. These snails are swallowed whole and digested internally, with the empty shell discarded later through the mouth. Sandstars will also feed on other snails, sea pansies, sand dollars, and even dead fish. The sunflower star, Pcynopodia helianthoides, must feel that if 5 arms are good, then 20 to 24 must be fantastic. They may reach a diameter of 36 inches and up to 11 pounds in weight. Color ranges from purple, slate, or pinkish to brown, orange, yellow, or even red. The fuzzy appearance of their dorsal surface is due to skin gills. Sunflower stars are found from the Aleutian Islands in Alaska to Todos Santos Island off Baja California, although one source lists San Diego as their southernmost limit. They live on rocky or soft bottoms down to about 1,450 feet, although most are limited to about 400 feet. These active carnivores feed mostly on sea urchins, which may constitute 20 to nearly 100% of their diet. Polychaete worms, snails, chitons, bivalves like mussels or clams, dead or dying squid, hermit crabs, true crabs, barnacles, sand dollars, sea cucumbers, and even other starfish are also on their menu. Although they can invert their stomach to digest food externally, they usually swallow it whole. They have few known predators, so they are limited ecologically by available food resources rather than predators. Sunflower stars broadcast spawn between March and July. The plankton-feeding larvae remain drifting for up to 9 to 10 weeks before settling to the bottom as tiny 5-armed sea stars. Additional arms are gradually added in pairs as they grow. Brittlestars are grouped either as a separate class of echinoderms known as Ophiopsilla or as a subclass under the starfish. They are named because the arms break off very easily. There are 16 species in California waters. Usually small and often hidden under rocks, they are easily overlooked by divers. Their natural history is not well known. Some are detritus feeders, scavengers, or suspension feeders. Others are active predators hunting small invertebrates. There are 5 or 6 triangular jaws in the mouth. Spines on either side of these jaws are known as oral papillae. The tube feet of brittlestars lack the suction cups of their echinoderm relatives. However, they often produce sticky secretions to grip rocks or prey. There are separate male and female individuals. The brittlestar Ophioplochus asmarchi is commonly known as the smooth or occasionally the sand-colored brittlestar. Specimens up to 6 inches across have been reported. The spines are fairly short and may be folded up against the arm, making them even less obvious. It is considered uncommon from Tamales Bay to San Diego on soft bottoms from the low intertidal to about 230 feet. This brittlestar feeds on dead matter, but can also capture smaller, slow-moving invertebrates. Fertilization is internal. They lack a pelagic larval stage. 100 or more eggs are brooded for up to 6 months in the bursae. The eggs develop directly into juveniles. The banded serpent star, Ophioderma panamensis, is our largest local brittlestar, reaching a total diameter of 12 inches. It is also known as a snakeskin brittlestar. The central disc is gray-brown to a nearly olive-green in color. The long arms are dark brown to black with lighter bands. This species has fairly short spines. The banded serpent stars known from the northern Channel Islands south to Peru and the Galapagos Islands. It may be found intertidally and down to about 130 feet. They generally hide during the day to avoid predators and come out at night to feed. This species does not seem to be bothered by potential fish predators such as Garibaldi, rock wrasse, and kelp bass, which readily eat other brittlestars if they are exposed. However, if upended, they are quick to turn themselves over to protect their undersides. Images of the arms reveal the absence of prominent tube feet. Although present, they are hidden. According to field guides, the brittlestar Ophiopsilla californica isn't known outside of central California, despite being very common on soft bottoms below about 70 feet here off Catalina Island. The central disc of Ophiopsilla is usually buried in sand or mud bottoms. Only the long, slender arms reach above the surface. Their diameter may be up to 12 inches. The arms are withdrawn under the sand if the brittlestar senses danger. This brittlestar is a suspension feeder. It uses the long arms, perhaps aided by the numerous spines, to capture organic matter and possibly plankton. The flat-spined brittlestar, Ophiopteris papillosa, has long, flat, blunt spines. It may reach 7 inches from arm-tip to arm-tip. The color is usually a yummy chocolate brown with dark bands on the arms. This Ophiuroid has been recorded from Barkley Sound, British Columbia, south to Cedros Island off Baja, California. It is present in rocky habitats or kelp holdfasts. The depth range is from the lower intertidal to as much as 460 feet. The flat-spined brittlestar may suspension feed, capturing particles from the water column, aided by sticky mucus secretions on its tube feet and spines. It can also function as an active carnivore, grabbing food in its jaws and even using the spines to help break off pieces.